We're at the end of a passage, and the perennial question is, I don't know, when are we gonna get there?
Oh, yeah. It's like we sailed 850 miles, and it took like a solid 5.5 days. It was exhausting, it's tiring. The last like 3 hours, like, oh my gosh, when are we gonna get
Well, also when we have to suffer through this terrible view.
It's pretty nice.
It's just awful. Ash, what do you think?
This is quite an adventure. I'm glad it came.
That seems like a win.
I'm excited to be here. I've never been to Bermuda before. It looks beautiful. Got a little bit of a technical approach, but it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be good.
Cool.
Can't wait, just like everybody said. Or like Keith said, never been here?
Buying shorts. They have short stores here, right?
I would hope. Ow!
That's me.
What's happening right now?
Well, we're parked right next to the happening party.
What did we do to get here?
We tried 4 different spots, including a fuel dock in Bermuda on a Thursday night before Good Friday.
Which is a big holiday weekend here.
Yes, because all the grocery stores are closed. All the hardware stores are closed tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday.
Are we pumping the tunes right now? Is that us?
We are not. It is a neighboring boat.
Shall we look?
Quality control.
Let's look together, shall we?
Control.
We literally just crossed an ocean and parked right here. I'll just say, I'm a little concerned when the incredibly drunk captain pulls up at a very high speed with this music on and parks right next to us.
Are you sure he's incredibly drunk?
He might just be chill. Okay, so this is what we call problems, projects, and plans. Keith, what problem are you working on right now?
Right now, I am resecuring the gas tank.
Whoa! We don't have a gas tank.
The diesel tank.
That's right. Why do we call it a diesel tank?
Because gas does not go in a diesel tank.
And it
Things
has
blow
before.
up.
Right.
The
The fuel
fuel
tank.
tank.
Thank you. So you're
The fuel
resecuring
tank.
it. Why do you have to resecure it?
During the course of the last passage, the mounting plates, essentially, we call them rope eyes.
Do you have
The
one you can
epoxy
show us? Or
failed.
they're all
I know,
they're all
they're all
re-glued.
attached.
Yeah.
And we have no power.
Yeah.
So the epoxy that attached them to the side of the hull failed, and so we had to re-epoxy them back in place.
Yeah.
So Brian did that, and so now we have to reattach the straps.
So let's take a look at what we're looking at here. So here's the fuel tank. So what is that little piece we're looking at right now?
So the it's
you
not
point to it?
plastic. This piece is epoxied to the deck. And then these straps go around the fuel tank in order to secure it secure it and make sure it doesn't flop around and slide around. So there's 3 of them, and they attach
show us that one
around
up
here.
there.
So this is the new one
That's
that
a new
Brian
one.
installed. And then he also installed...
Why didn't we use the big one again?
Yeah, I didn't direct him properly. And then we have sort of 3 of those, and then we're actually attaching a horizontal.
Yeah, we just
one
added
as
a new
well.
one. Because in
That's what we added.
25 knots of wind, as we were pounding along, this broke free. This
It was
huge
not
fuel tank with hundreds of liters in fuel in it was bouncing around, which is in the midst of like sensitive electronics.
Not a good
So that was no good. So that's problem number 1 for our Bermuda stopover on our transit from Puerto Rico to Rhode Island. So, projects, problems, and plans. Problem number 2 and the Bermuda stopover between Puerto Rico and Rhode Island. So we have been having all sorts of trouble with the electrical system. We couldn't get the 2 alternators to charge correctly. And then about halfway through the trip, I opened up the engine room I was trying to figure it out. And I saw this horrible sparking. And I'll show you, I've already repaired it, but I'll show you where it was. So this is alternator number 1 right down here. That provides power to the batteries. And this is alternator number 2. And there's a ton of sparking coming off the back right here. All right, so this spot right here where it connected. Our battery's running on our light. So this is where it connected. So this is the old connection that was there. So you can see it was arcing and it melted the cables. These cables melted into the control line for the alternator, which made it flip on and off at full power every couple seconds, which then caused even more melting. And so then the other alternator cable, it's around here somewhere. Is it over here? Yeah. So these two fused together, along with the control cable, and then started, but didn't actually make it all the way through, melting into the main battery cable, which would have connected the alternator directly to the main battery, bypassing the battery control system, which you need for lithium batteries. So in terms of like potential catastrophe, you know, fire in the engine room is high. So this has been, we were hoping to see Bermuda, but as happens on passages, instead we've spent the morning working on this. But I've got a new cable crimp in. I've got the new cable. We've simplified the system. I actually removed the alternator going to the starter battery, and so now the alternators only supply the house batteries, which means that I can't charge the starter battery at sea, but it can still charge when I'm plugged in, which is fine. And it should minimize some of the complexity. You know, some of the reason it was so hard to find some of this stuff is when you have really complex systems, it can just be really hard to troubleshoot them. So I'm actually stripping out some of the complexity. I mean, you can see, just get a glance of this like the fuse and power control system. It's just way too complicated. And so I'm working on simplifying that. But in the midst of a passage, I'm not going to make a huge amount of changes. All we were doing is repairing the connection to the alternator. I did remove the one cable going to the starter battery, and then we're going to see how this goes on this next passage. So Fritos, you enjoying being in exotic locales?
I love being in exotic locales.
Absolutely.
Down in Riviera.
Yeah, Santa Cruz or whatever. We're having lunch and you said, hey, somebody's flying a kite. And we turned around and we saw that whoever was flying that
We were walking across the bridge.
tied off their string on the bridge because the kite had gotten caught on our Windex on the top of the mast.
Really?
And our boat was flying a kite. So Keith cut the string and it, you know, the gust took it and it cleared the mast. And
But the story doesn't end yet.
Yeah, yeah. So we're walking to the beach here and we
The
saw
ever-living kite lives on.
Yeah, the kite was in the middle of the road back here with, you know, 200 feet of string.
And it was sitting on the ground with the string running over the power lines and the telephone lines on the that went over the street. And so we laughed and we said, that's funny, look at our kite.
And then a little green car passed by and it's dragging something. Shh. It's the kite. The lady had stopped and was trying to untangle it from the bottom of her car. So that's the last we saw of the kite, but we'd seen it a number of times already.
Well, that's pretty beautiful. Look at this little like bay, this little swimming pool out here.
Not bad, huh?
You can see the ramp like up to the magazine. Must be gunpowder in there. These bars have been here for hundreds of years.
So why is this significant, Mike?
Right at the outbreak of the American Revolution, Bermuda was worried about losing food imports from the United States, well, from the emerging United States. And so they broke like sort of like a shady backroom deal with old Ben Frank to get some gunpowder in return for an exemption on importing, even though they were still a British colony. And so sort of a stealth black ops mission to get all the gunpowder at this magazine, which is a British fort. I don't think we're supposed to be here, you know, locks, gates and stuff, but it's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's the kite that will not die.
So I had kind of a tough day. I really struggled with the electrical system all day again. But, come here, buddy. But now, I found a kite. And in Bermuda, on Good Friday, the local tradition is to fly a kite. So, walking down the street, went for a swim, walking down the street, about to get run over. Just enjoying my day.